Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here,
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah. Good morning and welcome back. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Okay, whatever. And the man on the other microphone, he is a great patriot. We all know him as...
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is your boy, Chris America, coming to you with a very deep voice on Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019. Loudbeard, you know what I'm glad to see you doing now?
What would that be?
You're having confidence in your name again. For the longest time, you would be like, they call me Loudbeard? And now you're like, they call me Loudbeard.
Yeah. It just kind of feels, it depends on how I feel in the morning. Some mornings I come in, I'm feeling Loudbeard. And other mornings I come in and it's Loudbeard. And that's how we have to roll. And today it's one of those Loudbeard kind of days.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here listening to my voice. You know, when you first wake up, you don't really talk to anybody until you get on the mic. And I didn't realize my voice was going to sound this bad this morning.
That's all right. We all have those days. And, you know, it adds a little bit of flavor to the morning show.
It does.
Gives you a little extra...
A little baritone, a little bass.
Yeah, there we go.
You know, I'm all about that bass, Loudbeard. No treble.
Yeah, you got a lot of bass. A lot of bass in that trunk, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw the old Golden Ghost last night.
Oh, yeah? You guys going out? Rendezvousing?
Yeah, we're rendezvousing. We're checking things out. He's helping me buy a house. And he told me he couldn't make it because something about, like, the wife and the kids got up and they were using the dryer. I don't know if he does the show from his laundry room, but he said there was too much noise. And then he's like, by 6:15, everybody was done. And he was like, and it was too late by then. I was like, we still had 45 minutes of show to go.
It's funny because his excuses are just that. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a real good reason why. Because there's quite a difference between a reason and an excuse.
Right.
And I'm going to put him in the excuse category because he's going to come up with anything and everything to be able to say, like, why he was not on the show. He's one day a week. That's all we ask. One day a week. Whatever, man. I
don't think we ask for much.
No, we don't ask for much. Well, Chris America, I don't know what's going on in the world, man, but finally we have a good series in the NBA. I just have to say that because that Golden State blowout of the Blazers was quite disappointing, but the Eastern Conference, they're letting us have a good old time, and we now have a series tied at 2-2.
Like you said, it's back to 0-0 now. They won 2. Milwaukee won 2 at home. Raptors won 2 at home. Now the Raptors are going to have to get a win in Milwaukee if they want to win this series. Milwaukee doesn't have to get a win in Toronto. That's the joy of having home court advantage. But do you think the Raptors have to win Game 5, or do you think they can lose Game 5 and they can pick up the next 2 games? I think they have to win Game 5.
Well, it's always considered one of those pivotal games.
Right.
When it's 2-2, you go into Game 5. I don't know that it is necessarily a must-win by any means. Obviously, it's not going to finish the series if there's a loss there by the Toronto Raptors. But I do agree with you. Like, this is a big game. We've got to see a win here. But Toronto's one of those teams that they have enough depth and enough talent where they could go and win games 6 and 7 back-to-back. So, yes, it is a pivotal game. Yes, it is important. But it does not eliminate anybody by any means. And I could see this Toronto team coming back and squeezing out a Game 6, Game 7 win and taking this series, even if they lose to Milwaukee in Game 5. Now, one of the reasons I believe that is because I talked about depth, right? The bench, all season long, the Raptors were looked at as a team that had a ton of depth. They showed it last night. They
Yeah.
have 3 of their bench players in double figures that really helped contribute to this win. It wasn't the starters. They had good games. Kyle Lowry had a good game. He led all scorers with 25. Kawhi Leonard had an okay game for his standard, but a good game nonetheless. But the bench, man, Norman Powell has 18. Serge Ibaka has 17 points, 13 rebounds, and Fred VanVleet has 13. The bench finally stepped up, and this is the depth we were talking about all season long. The Raptors have great players, and they go deep, and I think that helps quite a bit in the playoffs.
Yeah, it does, because like you mentioned, Kawhi Leonard, 19 points. That's kind of pedestrian for a superstar. Pascal Siakam, we've been high on this guy the first 2 rounds. He's been a ghost this series. He just has not shown up. Kyle Lowry, though, you're right. He has finally picked up his game. He's reminding the world in this series that, hey, man, I'm still here. I'm still an all-star. I can still get things done. And if you would have told me that Giannis would have 25 and Middleton would have 30, my guess would have been that Milwaukee would have won that game, especially with Kawhi Leonard having 19 and Siakam having 7, because those are their 2 leading scorers the last 2 series. But it was the depth, like you talked about, because this is the Milwaukee team we thought we were going to see coming into this series, was Giannis going off and maybe Middleton going off, or maybe it would be Mirotic one night and Middleton the next night. But the rest of the team, just single digits, everybody except for Mirotic, who I just mentioned, he had 11. Only 3 players in double-digit points, where the Raptors had 6 players in double-digit points, and that's why they won by 18.
Oh, absolutely. Man, this Raptors team, I had kind of picked them to be the Eastern Conference winners from the very beginning. I just felt really good about them. I liked them last year, and of course, the Cavaliers buzzed them down with LeBron James. But since LeBron has been out of the picture, I felt good about this Toronto team, especially with them picking up Leonard in the offseason. I just feel like this is their season. So I'm going to still stick with the Raptors. Giannis is scary to pick against, and I may come to regret this decision, but I'm all in on the Raptors. This is, to me, the Raptors series, and they've showed that they can bounce back from some adversity. When you go down 0-2 in a series, it's easy just to get swept or get a gentleman's sweep and just roll over. But this Toronto Raptors team, they did not give up. They still have a lot of fight in them, and it has been impressive so far what they were able to do. And Kawhi Leonard has been a little hobbled. He's been limping around on the court a little bit, and there's been some concern with that. But the coach for the Raptors, Nick Nurse, he came out and he said, he's not concerned. He said he logged a lot of minutes. He's certainly tired, like a lot of guys in this series, but he looks okay to me. So afterwards, in the press conference, Nick Nurse is saying, Kawhi Leonard's going to be okay. He's going to be just fine. Don't worry about him. And in this situation, even if you're a little injured, you're going to go out and play no matter what, because it's all or nothing right now, and they cannot afford to have a rest day. They cannot afford to limit minutes. Like, they need Kawhi out there 100% for the rest of this series, and Kawhi is going to do that. This is why he took so many rest days throughout the season, so he could have all of his energy and be ready for this type of series.
Yes. We definitely need that. And Loudbeard, we did have a tweet come in 2 hours ago. Who sent that to us? I think it was David Green sent it to us. He had a little question for us. Would we rather have Kawhi Leonard not win the finals and stay in Toronto, or win the finals and leave? I think no matter what, I want Kawhi Leonard to stay in Toronto unless he's going to come to Orlando.
Yeah, I want him to stay no matter what. I agree with that. But if Toronto, like if I'm a Toronto fan right now, this would be a tough question, because what if you it's like a handoff, right? Like, or you have to make that decision between winning a championship or losing the best player on your team. And that's really what that is. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, well, I don't know. I don't really know which one I would rather have. As a fan, if I was a Raptors fan, I think I'd go with championship. Players come and go, and you don't typically get an opportunity to win a championship. Look, Golden State's been dominating this league for the last 5 years with one little blip in the radar, which took a outstanding performance from LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, I guess. And that has nobody else in the NBA has had a chance. And you look back through the NBA, a lot of times this happens. The Bulls, there was teams like a Charles Barkley-led Phoenix Suns and like a Karl Malone Utah Jazz that could never win a championship. So I would say if Leonard was going, if I had to pick between Leonard leaving or winning a championship, or Leonard staying and winning a championship, I'm going championship, man. I have to go championship. A great question from David Green, though.
Yeah, as a fan, you definitely take the championship when you can get it. But at the same time, you're like, man, do I want a championship and then trade in for a bunch of bad years afterwards? I don't know. It's tough. I think I do still go championship, especially if you're a team that's never won a championship. And they're not doing much in hockey there in Toronto or baseball. The Raptors are it. The Raptors are the kings of Toronto right now. And you got to take the championships when you can get them. Now, Loudbeard, I'm going to spice this question up for you to make it more personal to you.
All right, let's hear it.
We all know that you hate the Warriors and you're ready for the Warriors to lose this year, correct?
Yes.
So, would you rather Kawhi Leonard beats the Warriors in the finals, wins his championship, and then he goes to L.A., and then the Lakers rattle off 3 in a row and send LeBron James off, and it's all Lakers. Laker fans come back worse than ever. They're in your face all the time. All the fake Laker fans here in Orlando are just talking about how great the Lakers are. Or would you rather have the Warriors win one more and then Kawhi Leonard stays in Toronto? None of that Lakers stuff happens.
I think that's a tough question. I'm not a big Lakers fan, but I'm a LeBron fan at heart, right? Like, I like LeBron.
Yes,
so
I do know that.
Yeah, so if Kawhi is going to win a championship in Toronto and then send off LeBron the right way with 3 championships, do I want to see LA win 3 championships? Hell no. There's no way I want to see that. That's definitely not what I want to see.
Right.
But I would feel good about LeBron getting that kind of send-off, and to me, that might be worth it. And, yeah, I think I could dig it. And it's not Golden State winning again. I'd probably, after the first LA win, I'd be done and over and say, okay, I hope they don't win again. But I can definitely dig that. I could see Kawhi winning championship in Toronto and winning in LA. I'd be okay with that. But ultimately, what I want, Chris America, is I want Kawhi to stay. I want him to win a championship this year because I do not want Golden State to win.
Right.
I don't care who comes out of the East. I mean, I want Toronto too, but if Milwaukee does, my feelings aren't hurt. Giannis, I love him too. I think this is a great team. Either team, whichever team comes out, I'm going to be okay with, but they better show up in the finals. That's the only thing I say. That out of these 2 teams, I would say that Toronto has the better chance of beating Golden State, just because, 1, I mentioned the depth. 2, Kawhi Leonard's a guy that's been there. He had that run with the Spurs. He's been in these situations. He's more of a clutch guy and more of a prepared guy for a playoff push. Where the Bucks, I think that might be too big of a stage for them going up against Golden State, who have been in the finals 5 years in a row, and this is like that first run for the Bucks. I kind of look at it as when Oklahoma City, when they had Kevin Durant, when they had Westbrook and James Harden went to the finals. They just weren't quite ready. I think that's what the Bucks will do, and they'll just end up disappointing. That's why I want to see Toronto go, because I think Toronto is more ready for this. Serge Ibaka's another guy with a ton of playoff experience that you have on your team. Kyle Lowry's got playoff experience, never been to the finals, though. And I think this is a team that's more equipped to give Golden State a run for their money. And that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, so you want Kawhi to win a championship and stay in Toronto, right?
Yes. That's actually what I want, yeah.
So
I like people in Toronto.
You want your cake
nice
and eat it too.
I do. Chris America, we do our podcast every day. We record our live show, and we put it on a podcast. And we are partnered with the Barn Burner Podcast Network, and they are based out of Toronto, Canada.
Yes.
You can check them out at barnburner.ca. And we have a lot of fans in Toronto. And I just want to say to all my fans in Toronto, this is for you. We the North. Go Raptors. We're winning it all, baby. That's what I'm saying right
Loudbeard,
now.
a man of the people.
A man of the people. That's right. That's what
Now,
I
I
like
never
to do,
understood
be a
that.
man of the people.
I never understood that have your cake and eat it too expression. Like, who's getting cake and not eating it? I don't understand. I've never been in a situation where I got handed a piece of cake and then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to eat it too. I'm just going
Don't you feel like
just going to stare at it.
I feel like we need to get our stats department on this, like our research department, the Scout Team Bureau of Investigation. Where did this phrase come from? Who was the moron that first coined this, and why have we, as a society, continued to use it over and over and over again? There's got to be a good reason, right?
To explain it as something you want double things, like you want a piece of cake and you want to eat it. How dare you?
Yeah, and why is it such a nice thing? Like, could it be a morbid thing? I'm going Game of Thrones style, like. Should I take a sword in the heart and die also, or just the sword in the heart? Which one would you rather have?
Right.
Like, once you take the sword in the heart, you're dying. Once you get your piece of cake, you're eating it. Like, one follows the other. How are you? Yeah, no. This is terrible.
Like, I don't know how it describes greed. Because that's essentially what it's doing, right? It's describing some greed a little bit, or you want more than what you're supposed to get.
Now,
anyways,
what if I said you want your money and to spend it too? Would that? No.
Maybe it'd be like it's like you want alimony in the house too.
Yeah. Oh, there's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That's very pertinent to today's society.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Loudbeard, I don't have the correct answer to this, but when you think of Draymond Green, do you think of fatherly advice?
I don't initially think of fatherly advice, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and roll with it. Yeah, let's see what the big daddy has to say.
Play his little on this little hoop and then like stomp around the house. It's like, dog, I like the intensity, but slow down, young fella. So, but I realized, like how impressionable the kids are at the ages they're at, and just really want to be a good example for them and show them the right thing. Like my son was playing, like he was shooting and flopping. I said, yeah, you gotta stop watching the NBA. Shooting and falling on the floor like, oh, Dada, help me up. It's like, no, gee, what you flopping for? But no, it's just like, really impressionable at this age, and I want to make sure I'm setting a good example for them as well.
Has he flexed yet, Duncan, on the little hoop?
Yeah, he scored shots and said, ah! It's pretty funny.
You concerned at all?
All right, Loudbeard, he's telling kids these days, they're watching the NBA and flopping, and he doesn't like it. He needs to be a good example to kids. I wonder if he left out the part where his son throws out his leg to kick people in the nuts while he's getting rebounds.
Yeah, that's kind of a tough one. You know what? Honestly, I'm not one of those guys that hates Draymond. Like, he seems like he's a bully, and I'm not a big fan of Golden State, but I kind of like his game. He's not a flashy guy. He's one of those guys that gets in the trenches and fights and kicks and scratches and works his way. He's like a Bill Laimbeer of today's NBA, if you will. And he's either loved or hated, and a lot of people hate him, and a lot of people want to point to the fact that there's a couple, nut shots that he's had in his career that probably were not the right thing to do. But the man is being a good father, and I have to appreciate that. And he's giving good advice. Like, what are you doing flopping? Like, he doesn't want to see a bunch of floppers out there. I'm surprised he didn't say, like, what are you doing? You trying to be like LeBron James? Like, I'm surprised he didn't even throw out that kind of reference.
Who are you, James
That
Harden?
would have made that perfect. Yeah, exactly. What is this? You think this is ISO ball? This is no James Harden ball right here. We're not dealing with that crap this morning or ever. So he's being a good father. You know what? Good for Draymond Green, man.
What do you think?
Good
This
guy.
is an elite soccer league?
Yeah, that was the second thing I was going to say. Well, if you don't want to play basketball, you could always watch soccer because there's no flopping that happens there. The NBA looks like they are serious and never flop compared to what these jerks in soccer do, man. Soccer's the worst as far as flopping goes.
Well, Scotty Kaiser coming in. First he says, there is nothing hard about this. Bury the Lakers forever. LeBron sealed his fate when he signed with them. Do better, Loudbeard. And then he comes in, he says, well, at least you got your money 23 green take correct. So he's on board with your Draymond Green take, but he hates your Lakers take. And once again, you can hit us up like Scotty Kaiser does every morning on our Twitter account at Scout Team Radio. You can live tweet, become a Scout Team co-host or Scout Team Twitter co-host.
Yeah, we love to get some interaction from all of our fans out there and listeners out there on Twitter. So, Chris America, I'm going to keep talking a little bit about these Golden State Warriors. And I just have to say, there is a story that emerged yesterday. Mark Stein from the New York Times is reporting this. But the Clippers are emerging as serious contenders to sign Kevin Durant in the offseason. Is this the type of story we want to be hearing now, even when Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors are still playing? Like, they are going into a final series, and all of a sudden we're getting news stories about teams that are emerging. And the reason Mark Stein's reporting this, he's a reporter for the New York Times, and New York has always been that, oh, Kevin Durant's going to go to the Knicks. He's going to go to the Knicks. Well, he's saying to the Knicks fans, whoa, slow your roll. There's other teams out there that are going to want Kevin Durant. Guess what? The Clippers are emerging. But, man, the timing of this story doesn't seem right, does it?
No, and I think the NBA should probably try to put a kibosh to it with at least at the front office levels. I don't know who's leaking these stories, but I think if I'm the NBA, I would say we need to keep these stories to when it's the NFL draft or NFL season. That's when we want to steal headlines, but we don't want to steal headlines from ourselves, from the focus of the Eastern Conference Finals. It sucks that we already lost the Western Conference Finals and we can't make any more money off of that. So let's not take anything away from what's going on in the Eastern Conference Finals. So yeah, I think it's bad for the NBA. Now I don't know who's leaking the story or how the story's been told, but if the NBA can find a way to close off that leak, they need to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. They need to change the narrative, right? They need it to be about their finals and not about what's going to be happening in the offseason. Save that for the offseason.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's a foregone conclusion that Kevin Durant's going to be gone, and him being injured and Golden State playing better without him, I think is sealed the fate. Like, he's ready to move on. Golden State probably feels very confident that they can move on without him and still be a contender each year. So I definitely think that it is now going to be a foregone conclusion that Durant is gone. But question for you, Chris America.
Yeah.
With how different the Golden State Warriors are without Kevin Durant and how much more Klay Thompson has been involved in the game plan and how much better he has played without Kevin Durant on the floor, do you think that's enough for Klay Thompson to consider staying and continuing his dynasty with Steph Curry and Draymond on the Golden State Warriors, or do you think both Klay and Kevin Durant will be walking?
Well, I think if they let Kevin Durant walk, they'll have all of that money that Kevin Durant was sucking up from the salary cap, and they can start giving a lot more to Klay Thompson. They can give him closer to what he wants. I don't know what Draymond Green's contract situation is, but maybe they'll have a little bit more money to kind of divvy it out between Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. So yeah, I think it definitely increases the chances of Klay staying. He comes back to as like the number 2 guy instead of being 3, sometimes 4. So yeah, I think he would stay, and I think him and from all that I've seen, I think him and Curry get along. They like that Splash Brothers moniker that they got several years back, and I think he would rather play with Steph Curry than LeBron James.
Oh, absolutely. And I think they've got a great dynamic duo, and really adding Kevin Durant into the mix, it was good because they've won championships. Kevin Durant obviously made this team better because Kevin Durant is that good. So not anything against Kevin Durant, but really Klay Thompson, it's hurt his game. Being on the floor with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and having to share the ball, it's just hard for him. And that's not what his game's about. He's a volume shooter who gets streaky and gets hot, and he needs those opportunities. And I think he's lacked those opportunities with KD on the floor. So, yeah, if KD leaves, to me, I think the smart move for Klay is just to stay. Just stay where you're at. That's where you're going to have the most success. He could struggle on other teams because I think he's such a unique player that it's not going to be a perfect fit. And if a team brings him in to be like a number 1 guy, I don't think that he's a number 1 guy. I think he needs somebody like a Steph Curry to play alongside of where they feed off of each other. So, yeah, for me, Clay needs to stay.
Yeah, I think Clay is just an elite version of what J.J. Redick brings to the floor. He plays good defense. He's got a lot of hustle, and he's a damn good shooter. But you're right. To put him in that whole, like, building a team around him role, and even as a complement player, he still needs the right superstar to complement. And there's not many around the league that he can go do that with. So I think he could do it well with KD in New York if he wanted to do that. I think he could do it with LeBron James. And then maybe, I don't know who else. Can he do it with Russell Westbrook or James Harden? I don't know. He could go to Milwaukee and do it with Giannis. He could do it in Toronto with Kawhi Leonard. But I think those are all his options right now. Is who could he be the Robin to? And the Batman needs to be an elite Batman in order for his Robin to be elite as well, to win championships.
Oh, absolutely. Now, another guy out there that is looking for a contract that has some decisions to make is Damian Lillard. But a report comes out that the Blazers are expected to give Lillard the Supermax, which to me is a no-brainer. I don't even know why this is a story. But Supermax, what they're going to be able to offer Lillard is a 6-year, $191 million contract. Come on, you got to be with me on this, right? I know that's a lot of money, but this guy Lillard, man, he is the face of your franchise. Portland has to put that money on the table, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. They would be stupid not to. I don't know why anybody would think he's not even worth that much, because I think he's proven he is. And then to a market like Portland, it adds more value to who Leonard is, right? So maybe he's not worth that much to the Los Angeles Lakers or like the Clippers, but to a franchise like Portland, they need a guy that they can keep and say, this is our guy. He stayed with us, and he's the guy that we're going to retire his jersey in 20 years and everything else. This market needs him, because if he walks, what else are you going to do? You going to go draft another Damian Lillard? You're not signing another Damian Lillard. So you pony up the money, and then you try to make it work. You try to build a team around him.
And I think this is where the NBA has gotten it right, where they offer the teams that have kept their players, they get that extra option to do an extra year and do more money and do these super max type contracts so that they can keep their guys in-house, right? This helps teams like Portland. And this is a scenario where this is perfect for both parties. Portland gets to keep their superstar, and Lillard gets to get paid a ridiculous amount of money. Now, Portland just also extended their head coach, Terry Stotts. I mean, coming off of a series which you get swept, I think it's odd that the next day you're extending your coach. But for how Portland exceeded expectations, I would say that it's probably the right move to keep the coach also.
Yeah, definitely. They're just a few players away, really. They just need a few role players, and maybe they can grab some of these role players that are on other teams that just, are ready to move on. And I mean, it's still not out of the picture that Damian Lillard could be tempted by, I don't know, a Kevin Durant or a LeBron James or somebody of that sort to say, hey, we're ready to build a super team, Damian. We want you to be a part of it. And the Portland Trail Blazers have to contend with that also, and that's another reason why they have to offer him the super max deal.
Oh, absolutely. And I think he's got 1 year left on his contract. You're just able to extend before the season's out so that you don't get into that free agency period.
Yeah, so you get it out of the way, and maybe he doesn't get a chance to even think about, because maybe right now he's not thinking about where he's going to go next. But next May, he definitely will be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a beautiful situation for both of them. Now, David Griffin, the new GM for the New Orleans Pelicans, he's talking about trying to create the right environment for Anthony Davis to stay. He said he wants to build a kind of a winning culture, get the right guys in there, guys that want to win, and build an environment where Anthony Davis wants to stay. With this number 1 overall draft pick and with David Griffin committed to making New Orleans a competitive team, do you think Anthony Davis right now is maybe thinking, okay, maybe I can stay here. Maybe New Orleans will be my home?
I'm still not sure, but they have time to convince him. We still have the draft. He still gets maybe a chance to meet Zion Williamson. Maybe they hit it off. Maybe they they become best of buds. They go to like a court and just shoot around together. And maybe AD says, you know what? I know I've had my differences, but we got a new GM. We have a new guy coming in who I think is a great guy, and he's a hell of a basketball player. I think we can build something here. I think I'm going to stay in New Orleans. But all in all, like, I don't know. It seemed like he was really dead set on leaving, and I haven't really heard anything to say that, from his side, to say that that's changed.
Well, Chris America, it looks like we're at that moment where we need to take a quick commercial break. But I do have a question that I need to ask you after this break. I need to know, what is this kiss of death all about, and how is it going to relate to the NHL Finals? Can you help me pick my poison? Hey, Kawhi, what are you laughing at, man? This isn't funny. Fantasy sports reimagined. FanDuel, that's what I'm talking about. It is more than just fantasy sports. It's the best way to watch the games, win real cash, and bring the action right to your living room. Just choose a contest, make your picks, watch, and win. And if you go to FanDuel.com/STR today, you can get a $5 deposit bonus. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/STR. Come on, man. This is not a laughing matter.
Hi, everybody. Captain Lou here from the Captain Lou Extravaganza, coming to you live every Tuesday night on 12ouncesportsradio.com from 8 until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, it's a different name, but it's still the same great show. We're going to have guests every week live on the show, and we'll have your opinions as well as mine, and we'll see whose is better and obviously whose is right. That's every Tuesday night live, the Captain Lou Extravaganza from 8 until 10 p.m. Eastern Time on 12ouncesportsradio.com.
If you've been listening to Scout Team Radio for a long time, you know that myself, Loudbeard, has placed a bet or two in his day. That's right, I've lost the beard bet, I lost the romper bet, but one place I don't like losing is when I bet money, and I can easily do that at MyBookie. That's right, you can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 12OZSports, and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hey, guess what? That is a lot of money. Do it.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
All right, thank you all for listening in. Once again, we are Scout Team Radio. He's Chris America. I'm Loudbeer. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m., right here on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. We also simulcast each and every show on the Full Press Radio Network. We're excited to have a partnership with them. We do a podcast also, right? We record each and every show every morning. You get a daily podcast. You can check it out anywhere you find a podcast. Our website, scoutteamradio.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. And we also are on the Barn Burner Podcast Network. If you want to get social with us, if you want to get interactive, if you want to talk to us, or if you have comments or concerns about something we have said on the show, make sure you hit us up on Twitter. We like to get interactive on Twitter, and we like to talk about your topics. So hit us up on Twitter at Scout Team Radio, and we will read your topics on the air. So with all that being said, I do have to lead in to a topic that has been brought up on Twitter. If you have not been listening in, there has been a discussion about who is the greater kiss of death. Is it myself, Loudbeard, here on Scout Team Radio, where anytime I pick a team, it seems like they lose. So I do have a really strong kiss of death. But there's another gentleman out there by the name of Mike Berlon with Craft Brewed Sports, and Mike also has a kiss of death. So we decided to make a little kiss of death off, I guess, for lack of a better term. And we're going to each pick a team for the Stanley Cup Finals. And neither of us have any ties to these teams. We've got the Blues, who have a big win last night, eliminate the Sharks in Game 6, a 5-1 victory. And then we've got the Bruins, who have been sitting there ready after their big sweep of my big bunch of jerks, the Carolina Hurricanes. So Mike Berlon and myself have this ready to go. And Mike Berlon tweeted at Scout Team Radio and at Loudbeard yesterday. He says, "Hey, at Loudbeard, I'll let you pick your poison first for our Stanley Cup Kiss of Death off. Who are you taking to test your jinx powers?" So, Chris America, I need some help here because I really don't know who I should pick. I've got the Bruins. I've got the Blues. I don't know. This is a tough decision. Do you have any advice, friendly advice that you could give to Loudbeard? All right. Moving on. Chris
Sorry,
America,
bud.
if you're I was going to say, if you're talking, I can't hear you, and I had some headphone issues this morning, so I'm like, crap, is my headphone not working?
What did I
or is he
miss?
not talking? No, nothing. Nothing. I say nothing. I was talking about this kiss of death. I was going to get
Yes.
some friendly advice from you,
Okay.
and I was going to ask, Blues or Bruins, we've got this kiss of death off. This is the other part of this. We probably need to work out the details. Are you the bigger kiss of death if you lose, right? So, I want to pick the loser. Isn't that kind of how this should work?
No. You want to pick the winner. You want to say
To show that I'm not
this-
the kiss of death. I'm shaking
no.
off the stigma.
No. So this is how this works, okay? You
Okay,
have,
give it to me.
You have many times boldly predicted things, and you've believed in your heart, and you've believed in your mind, and you've said, I don't care what the experts say. I don't care what Chris America says. I don't care what anybody says. This is who's going to win, and then they lose. Okay, so this is where I'm kind of wondering how this kiss of death is going to work. So you're making the pick because Mike Berlon, Mike Kaiser. There, I'll do it for them, the other way around. Mike Kaiser said, "Hey, you get first pick. I'll let you choose." And so now it's really just testing your kiss of death because Mike Berlon isn't making a pick. He's just taking whatever you don't pick.
Ooh.
So I don't know how this
is
works.
a psychological mess right now.
I don't know how this is going to work.
I don't know how to do
because-
this.
Because if you make a pick and then Mike Berlon's team wins, it doesn't really prove that Mike Berlon's kiss of death is weaker than your kiss of death because Mike Berlon didn't make a choice. And so I don't know if there's a way that maybe you guys can write down on a piece of paper and not say what it is and then reveal it at the same time. And then hopefully they're different. Or maybe you guys both pick the same team and then that team loses. And then we just know that you guys are both just double kiss of death. Or if you guys both pick the same team and it wins, then maybe you guys shake off the kiss of death together.
That all sounds complicated. I think I'm just going to pick a team. So
You pick a team.
I see what you're saying here, and we've got some tweets coming in. I'm going to get to these in just a second, but I'm going to do this the right way. I'm going to pick the team that I think is going to win. And this is, I don't want to kiss of death them, but I'm going to see if I can shake the stigma of the kiss of death and actually really pick a winner this time. So St. Louis, the Blues, in the last 3 Stanley Cup appearances that they have been in, have been 0 for 12. And to me, I like stats. I like history.
Yes. This is what brings on the
like
kiss of
the
death.
fact that St. Louis is not going to win, and I want to go with the Boston Bruins. So I select the Bruins, and our good friend of the show, Jenny of Ohio, she agrees with me, and she has a hot tweet coming in. She says, Scout Team Radio, Bruins in 6. They have the experience, a face licker, and Sean Curley, saucy hand or hashtag saucy hands, hashtag the brotherhood. I don't even know what half of that means, but I like it.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing, Loudbeard. The whole face licker thing, I've realized why you have a beard.
So people can get a little extra flavor when they lick my face.
No, not at all. It's quite the opposite.
Is that weird?
See, we live in the great state of Florida, correct?
Yes.
And we don't just have face lickers here in Florida. We have face eaters. We have people that like to get high on bath salts and eat people's faces off. That's what it means to live in Florida. Florida is not for the faint of heart. And you saw these news stories flying about several years ago, and you said, I'm going to grow a germy beard. Nobody's going to want to eat my face. If I have a germy beard, they're going to say, oh, that beard has germs in it. I don't want to get germs, so I'm not going to eat that guy's face. I'm going to go eat this baby face over here. Is this true?
Yeah, I definitely don't want the whole bath salts getting my face eaten off situation happening. So yeah, having a beard is definitely a good thing to help prevent that sort of thing.
All right.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. That is definitely what you're doing. You're having a germy beard, and I'm glad you're finally admitting that it's germy, and you're protecting yourself from face eaters.
This is true. This is true.
All right.
Now, Chris America, I'm going to leave this up to you. I've got to step away for 30 seconds because I got something I got to do real quick. But there are like 3 or 4 really hot takes on Twitter. Can you run with these hot takes, and I'll be right back.
I will run with these hot takes. You go. Do what you got to do. I think he's getting with the old Mrs. Loudbeard. 30 seconds. I don't know. It seems like a long time for him. Anyways. Does that mean we just flip a coin? Mike Berlon comes in. Scott Kaiser tweeting in, that is creepy because his little brother is Mike Kaiser. That is. Have you guys ever put that together before I put that together for you? I like Scott Berlon better, to be honest with you. Mike Kaiser's cool. Mike Kaiser sounds like the guy from, like, he would be on Monsters Inc. Like, oh, there's Mike Kaiser next to Mike Wazowski. They're the two Mikes. They work together. And then, for the record, Mike Berlon says, I would have picked Boston to win too, and this is what I think needs to happen. Mike Berlon and Loudbeard going all in on the Boston Bruins, and now we'll see for sure if these guys are the kiss of death or if together it's like a negative times a negative equals a positive. Maybe Mike Berlon's negative kiss of death and Loudbeard's kiss of death will be a positive for the Boston Bruins, and their kiss of death will be free forever. I hate Boston.
Well, we're kind of like Captain Planet. With our powers combined,
yes,
we either completely buried the Boston Bruins or our 2 negatives will help them win. So one way or another, we really haven't decided anything because it looks like both of us would have gone Boston. So
yes,
this
so
ended
you
up
guys
not
both
working
pick
out the
Boston.
way I thought it would work out.
No, but I actually like this better because now it's going to be, I'm actually glad because I want Boston to lose. I don't want Boston to have 3 of the 4 titles this year. They've got 2 already. They don't need another one. So I'm hoping for Boston to win. And you mentioned Captain Planet. Does that mean you guys are going to cause more global warming or stop global warming?
I think the guy with heart is going to come in and say something stupid, and then Captain Planet's going to beat up a guy that doesn't recycle, and then, yeah, there's still going to be global warming.
Mike Berlon loves the idea of people who use bath salts are worried about germs. Yeah, they're still sensible people, okay? Don't judge just because they're taking bath salts and eating faces. They still have standards, okay? Nobody wants to eat stuff off the floor, and nobody wants to eat a germy beard.
Yeah, I think once somebody's on bath salts, they really do. Their judgment is picked up. Just because they like the flavor of somebody eating somebody's face does not mean they want it to be a germy face.
Yeah.
So yeah,
right.
Now there's definitely something to be said about that. That's
Mike.
That's a definite Florida man situation.
People
that don't live in
alone,
Florida
okay?
don't understand.
Stop judging him so much. Stop judging Florida man, okay? He's been through a lot. He's seen some things, but that doesn't mean he's a lowlife who eats germy beards.
Yeah, he has been through a lot. That's to say the least. Good old Florida man.
Good old Florida man. No other state has a better mascot. I think we should change our team name to the Orlando Florida Man. I mean, if New Orleans can change their team name to their state bird, we can change ours to our state mascot.
There. This would be better for the state of Florida. It'll help tourism. Come see
Loudbeard,
us. Florida Man, mascot of the year.
I know you. I know you had trouble going to sleep last night because everybody ganged up on you on your Ben Roethlisberger take, right?
Yeah, I lost a lot of sleep because of that. I had to actually call Big Ben about 2 a.m. get a little pep talk from him because he's a good guy.
So, Mark, remember our texter Mark? He texts me from time to time. He chimed in. I just missed the text yesterday morning. I didn't have my phone on me next to me, but I have it now. And he said to say to you, AB is who he is. His true colors will show when the Raiders need him most. AB is a me first guy. So he's all in on your take of AB being a bad guy. And you know what? I think it's a good take for both sides. It's two bad guys really just going at each other. And if you're asking who's winning the PR battle, I think Ben Roethlisberger won that one for sure. I'll definitely agree with you on that take.
Now, Ben Roethlisberger, he reminds me of Wreck-It Ralph. I could see him up there at the press conference, and he's going to say, I may be a bad guy, but I'm not a bad guy. And I really like that about Ben Roethlisberger. He's the Wreck-It Ralph of the NFL.
He's the Wreck-It Ralph if Wreck-It Ralph sexually assaulted a girl in a bathroom.
Yeah, that's what I meant. that you didn't take it? Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So, I don't know, man. Speaking of good guys in the NFL, I just had to throw this out there. The Bucs, they cut Gerald McCoy, who is a really great teammate, a good guy, great in the community, great player, and to replace him, they brought in another good guy, Ndamukong Suh. So Sue is coming over to replace Gerald McCoy. Great job, Bucs. Way to bring Ndamukong Suh to Florida, and he is our next Florida man. Welcome.
Oh, he definitely can be. He definitely has it in him to be a Florida man or to knock out a Florida man. He's a crazy guy. I don't know. I mean, this is his second stint in Florida, Ndamukong Suh, who was in Miami for a few years. Has he really been that bad these last couple of years? I don't remember seeing any big-time Ndamukong Suh stories.
No, he hasn't. He really has turned a new leaf. And he's also been around so many different teams. He's going jumping team to team to team. And he isn't that superstar that he was kind of billed when he came into the league. He's become more of like a role player on these teams. Last year he was on that Rams team, and he was a contributor, but he's not that big force that he once was when he was first with the Detroit Lions. So when you're not like a big-time top guy, the spotlight kind of comes off of you. So maybe this is the type of guy that didn't need to have so much media attention, didn't need to have that spotlight, and now he can kind of be a normal guy. In interviews, he's actually well-spoken, seems really genuinely nice, seems like a great guy. It's just when he gets out there on the field, he gets that competitive edge, and sometimes he might, step on a guy or, something like that. He's really like a Draymond Green when you look at it in that aspect.
Yeah. I think it's a good signing. Now they just have to hope that him and Winston, they don't end up on the news and cause bad stories, that they just stay good. Do you think... I still don't believe in this Bucs team. I still think they're lost, even with Bruce Arians coming in. I think they got a ways to go.
Yeah, this is a team that's rebuilding and rebuilding and rebuilding. And it's going to start with the quarterback, right? Jameis Winston was brought in as this number one pick, and he just hasn't been a number one guy. He has to come out and prove his worth. And if the Bucs do not have a real leader at quarterback and Winston doesn't end up being the main guy, this Bucs team's never going to go anywhere. He has been a middle-of-the-road quarterback with injury problems and a checkered, I guess, off-the-field patterns. And this is just a bad mix when it comes to being a quarterback. So Winston has to be the guy that pulls it together for them to go anywhere. Can he? Yeah, I think he's got the ability to do so. Will he? Nah, I'm not really sold on that. So yeah, I don't think the Bucs are I don't think that they're going to have a great year, but the NFL's crazy. I'm always thrown back by how well some of these teams do that shouldn't and how bad teams that should be good are. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I keep thinking back to that draft with Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota, and how it was just these are the best quarterbacks in the draft. They're going to go 1 and 2, and neither one of them have lived up to their billing. I mean, at best, they've played like a 25 pick and up, and that's at best. That's on their like good days. On their normal days, they look like a third-round quarterback. To be honest with you, no offense to those Titan fans that I know that we have listening from time to time, but Mariota just can't stay healthy. And you look at all the other drafts since, and guys that were picked a lot later, or maybe even not even 1 and 2, like Mitchell Trubisky. I think he's had a solid career so far. Carson Wentz, he's been solid if he's healthy, but he still has that same problem that Marcus Mariota has. And then you got my boy Patrick Mahomes. He was a number 10 pick. Deshaun Watson looks like he's got a brighter future. The guy at Baltimore, why can't I think of his name right now?
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, that's it. Lamar Jackson, he looks like he might have a bright future. And then, you talk about the Cleveland Browns with Baker Mayfield. All these guys that were Baker Mayfield was picked 1, but all the other guys I mentioned were picked like 3 and higher. And they look like the draft picks that they were picked at, where, although I did say Wentz, he was 2. Just Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston just have not looked like a 1 and 2 pick. They've not lived up to that billing.
No, they haven't. And the problem with both of those quarterbacks, it's kind of like the Ryan Tannehill problem. They've shown just enough for the team not to cut them or trade them, right? There's enough footage to say, okay, I see what this guy's capable of, but then they either get injured or have like a rough patch where they throw a lot of interceptions or whatever. So now the Bucs and the Titans are both in this like limbo where it's like, I don't want to give up on my quarterback already, but is he the quarterback of the future? And the Dolphins lived that for 5 years with Ryan Tannehill, and that's what the Bucs and Titans are doing. And it's a bad place to be. If you have question marks around your quarterback, you're usually sunk before the season even starts.
Yeah, and they've had chances to draft any of the guys some of the guys that we talked about. I don't remember where they were when Patrick Mahomes was drafted, but I feel like the Bucs were in the top 10 of that draft.
Mahomes is an outlier, though, man.
He is. But, I mean, even Deshaun Watson, I feel like they both had picks while Deshaun Watson was still on the board. They definitely both had picks while Lamar Jackson was still on the board. They could have made the move that the Eagles made to get Carson Wentz. The Eagles didn't have the number 2 pick. They had to trade up for that pick. And they got him. They recognized what Carson Wentz was, and that is when he's healthy, he plays like an MVP of the league. And the Bucs and the Titans just have been holding on to that rather than evaluating other quarterbacks and making moves to get them in the draft.
Yeah, I would say that this year is the last year for both of those quarterbacks, though. If they don't show enough to take their team to the playoffs, I think both of those quarterbacks are moving on.
I
would have to say that.
I don't know. We're still way too early to talk about quarterback death coming into the next draft, but we got the kid from Alabama, Tagovailoa, Tua. He's obviously probably going to be the number 1 quarterback taken, but I don't know about the rest of the NCAA football right now. What's out there?
Yeah, draft is usually such a crapshoot. It's like a flip of a coin sometimes of who's going to be good and who's not. This was kind of a neat side story. I hate to bring this back to NBA, but the NBA All-Rookie team is the top 5 draft picks from the NBA draft this season. First time since that 84-85 season when Jordan came out with Hakeem Olajuwon and Charles Barkley that all 5 of the first 5 draft picks made the All-NBA rookie team.
Yeah, and I saw Trae Young on there, and I remember how many people were bashing Trae Young and everything else, and he's ended up being a phenomenal pick for the Hawks. It just sucks that we were at 6 and the Hawks were at 5, and we weren't able to get Trae Young, but it is what it is.
I wanted him so bad.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
But I remember a lot of people were like, no, Trae Young's not going to work out. He's going to be another Hilliard and everything. And, I mean, maybe they're right. We have that one guy that won Rookie of the Year in 2014, and now he's on 10-day contracts. So we never know what the future holds. But right now, Trae Young's future looks bright.
It does. I didn't see Mo Bamba on that list. Did you?
No.
God.
Unfortunately, Magic rookies seem
that
to come
smells
in and
bad.
get injured.
That
But
hurts
if he
my
bounces
feelings.
back like Jonathan Isaac did, I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, we hope so. And I talk about that 84-85 all-rookie team. It also had Sam Bowie and Sam Perkins on it. And we know how that goes. Sam Bowie is now looked at as being one of the biggest draft busts of all times because he was picked ahead of Michael Jordan. He made the all-rookie NBA team in 84-85. He actually came out really strong. He just got injured and never really did anything after that rookie season.
Yeah.
So you don't know. You don't know what the future holds for these guys. So
Well, I know what
on
the
that
future holds
note-
for us right now, Loudbeard.
I know what the future holds. It holds me pushing a button that says end show.
Yep.
That's
Thank
it.
you guys
I
for
pushed
tuning
it.
in. Once again, please have your future. Have you searching out Scout Team Radio on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher. Hit subscribe, rate, and review. We love you guys. See you tomorrow. Peace.